Welcome back to Forward Progress presented by Fanduel. We are back for another edition of our Week 18 props show with Hitman by my side. I'm Jason Cooper here, and today we're going to be talking some props. We're also going to be taking a little look at some incentives and talking a little bit about some more information you can use. Listen, there's not too many props out right now with meaningful limits, so we felt like it wasn't really fair to give out some props if you really couldn't get down much on them and if they're going to move the second that we come out. So we're going to talk one prop first. We're going to lead with that. Then we're going to give you some information hopefully you guys can use to your advantage during Week 18 with a lot of moving parts, a lot of news-related moves. Take advantage of that. Stick around for the entire video, and you'll be able to check that out. We're going to start with the first prop. We have our only prop, and it's going to be for the most meaningful game on the slate, the Sunday Night Football game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Hey, man, you're looking towards the receiving game. You're looking at the Detroit Lions side of the ball. Tell us a little bit about it here.
Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 receptions. The best line right now is at Fanduel at minus 140. I would go up to minus 160 on this one. It's all about, for me, the fact that Detroit is kind of shifting right now to an offense that's forced to score a ton of points, and they're forced to throw the ball a lot more than they were earlier in the season. Jared Goff's pass attempts has been bet over in this game, with some of the premise being that early in the year this team was running the ball a lot more, and it's just, as of recently, they just have to be really aggressive, and they kind of know that they got to score every single possession right now. And St. Brown has kind of been a guy that has not benefited early from that game plan of them running the ball more. Goff's pass attempts were in the high 20s, low 30s. But when he does get volume and this passing game gets volume, I mean, St. Brown is the main beneficiary. And you've kind of seen it in some stat lines recent weeks. I know the Buffalo game was one where they had to drop back a ton, and St. Brown, I believe, went for 200 yards in that game. St. Brown against the Vikings specifically, the last two seasons, has went for 8 catches, 112 yards, 7 catches, 144 yards, and 12 catches, 106 yards, which kind of makes sense because when Jared Goff is blitzed, St. Brown's target share is by far the best on the Detroit Lions. And it's also the best against zone coverage, which Minnesota loves to play a lot of zone blitzes as well. So I just think this sets up as a game where St. Brown gets some volume in a game where Detroit knows that they're going to have to drop back probably 35 times at the minimum. And they're going to have to score a lot of points in this game because of their defense. So we're going St. Brown over 6.5 catches, minus 140.
Over 6.5 minus 140 is one of the best prices available right now. If you want to get meaningful limits down, I mean, there's a minus 129 out there, but you'll get kicked out the second you bet it. And there's a couple minus 150s out there too. Good too, minus 160. Hopefully you can scoop up that FanDuel price before it inevitably moves off this action. Hey, man, I have a question for you, though. If we see this get bet up enough to where it's in that 7.5 range, what number is that good? Because I see some 7.5s already popping up. What number do you need if it's at 7.5? Is it like a plus 120-ish, or you need higher than that?
Yeah, it's just plus money, pretty much. Because 6.5 minus 160 is the cutoff. So like a 7.5 plus 105, something in that general vicinity would be
okay. Yeah.
acceptable.
Just wondering that because I'm seeing some 7.5s pop up on the board here. Before we get into talking a little bit about some information you guys could use, we are in the final week of the NFL season. Bet the NFL season on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, as Forward Progress gives you the edge during an otherwise hectic betting week. Listen, I talk about it every single week here on FanDuel. I love their anytime touchdown market because I love betting that market. I'm not afraid to say that. But oftentimes, if you were to look around and shop around, FanDuel has the best price in market on almost all of these anytime touchdown bets, these first touchdown bets, these last touchdown bets, these 2+ touchdown bets. If you're looking to get some rec action in on some games and you like betting on some anytime touchdown scores and you're not using FanDuel, you're doing yourself a disservice. Right now, all customers will get a profit boost during Week 18. That means you can pump up your gridiron winnings multiple times a week. This week, we have a 50% same game parlay profit boost token for the Saturday slate. So if you're going to be watching some Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, or you're going to be watching some Cincinnati Bengals, some Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure you use that 50% profit boost token. You might as well get a little bit of boost on your bets. FanDuel's tons of ways you can get in on the NFL action. You can bet on money line, spreads, player props, and so much more. Plus, with super simple live betting, lightning fast bet settlements and instant withdrawals. FanDuel makes betting on the NFL easier than ever before. Just visit fanduel.com/forward progress to download the app today. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Hey, man, let's move on to you wanted to talk a little bit about the running back splits in the Pittsburgh game, mostly between Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, but then also I don't see lines posted just yet for Chase Brown. You want to give us a little bit more information on kind of both sides of the ball in the running back situation?
I'm guessing that Chase Brown misses this game. I did play some unders on him early in the week, but in like the mid to high 60s on rushing yards, but I'm kind of thinking that Chase Brown's going to miss. At least that's the latest reports right now. Cincinnati's shown a tendency to really ride one running back. Like as soon as Zach Moss got hurt, like Chase Brown was literally taking all the snaps. I'm going to guess Khalil Herbert is going to get a really heavy workload. I know that they moved up a practice squad running back, and I believe they have Travion Williams, I believe, is the backup. He's been more of like a third down pass protector type guy. I would guess that Khalil Herbert's going to get definitely most of the usage for the Bengals. And Pittsburgh, there's a lot of talk about, does Jaylen Warren end up overtaking Najee Harris? A lot of people are saying Warren's a better player. I mean, I really can't disagree with them. I feel like we've heard this so many times with Pittsburgh, like this speculation that Warren would become the starting running back and everything. It's never really happened. I kind of think it ends up not happening. Najee Harris's numbers were definitely inflated last week because they ran him late at the end of the game. I think he had something like 10 rushing yards, and they ran him for like 40-something yards with 3 minutes left when the game was completely over. So his numbers look a little bit inflated from last week. I'm interested to see how the backfield split is live. Not sure if I end up doing something before the game, but Cincinnati's definitely a defense. You could take advantage of them in the run game. So I think that one of these running backs is going to have success. It's just a matter of which. And, you want theoretically, I could see both running backs kind of having a decent game also. So maybe lean towards some overs on some running backs with Pittsburgh. It's just a matter of figuring out who the one is. And I don't know. Maybe I do something pre-flop. Maybe I end up just doing stuff live on it.
Yeah, maybe waiting live is the best idea here, or like you said, hitting those overs pre-flop right now.
The problem with live is that the limits are so much lower. Like if I take a stance before the game, then I can get down a really good amount. But yeah, that's the issue with live. But yeah, we'll see.
Right now, Najee Harris 45.5 minus 113 both sides on his rushing yards. Jaylen Warren 40.5 minus 113 on both sides. Pretty close stuff there. Last thing I want to talk to you about, Hitman, is something you can't get away from. And you told me that 20 different people sent you that Twitter thread about incentives this past week. So I have a question for you because someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I tracked last year's. I did the same thing last year, and I tracked all of the which side you should bet. And I just did the opposite side of what this incentives thread said. And you would have come out decently profitable on that. So what I was going to do is I was going to wake up Sunday morning. I was going to go take a look at that thread. I have it bookmarked. And I was just going to fade every single player prop that was available and just kind of see what happens there. Listen, I'm going to obviously be betting smaller amounts. It might be a little different for me versus what it's like for you. But I feel like the market is kind of I feel like with so much talk around this, there might be a slight over adjustment. So I just want to take advantage of that. What are your thoughts on me doing that?
If you can selectively do it, then I'm not opposed to it. It's just a matter of you have to be able to figure out which stuff is meaningful and which stuff isn't. It's definitely good if you were going to do it, you would do it at post because that's when the lines have just been, you remember a lot of bets haven't even been placed yet by like the Joe Public type of guy. Like those are going to start coming Sunday morning, and some of these lines continue to get bet up and bet up. But some of them, it's about selectively doing it. Like some of these plays, I bet them myself. So some early stuff that's moved a lot by now, and maybe some of that stuff, I wouldn't even fade it at post because I think the angle is pretty strong. On the other hand, there's some of them like Mike Evans is a good example of a guy we talked about him 2 weeks ago when people were talking about this 1,000 yard thing in week 15 of the regular season. I mean, his line, it got up, I think it's up to 104.5 in some spots.
Yeah.
He needs 84, 85 yards. I mean, right now, that's the highest number of the season. I mean, his number, if this was a regular game, like it would be in the mid 80s probably, or low to mid 80s. So you're paying a 20-something yard tax. Do I think if it gets towards the end game and he has 70 yards and they're up 14, do they maybe throw him 2 passes to get him over 85? I could definitely theoretically see that. But if that happens, you're still under the 104 or whatever the number is now. There's situations like Cortland Sutton, like he's lined at 80 now and he needs 80 yards, but like this is a must-win playoff game for them. I don't think they go out of their way to do it. If they can do it at the end of the game, if he's at 72, they probably throw him a pass if they're up 14 and get him over. So it's just about finding the ones to take advantage of. I still bet some of this milestone stuff, incentive stuff, but it's just about selectively looking for the ones that I want to play. And the days of just blindly playing this stuff, which I could have done 5 years ago and made a lot of money, are over. So yeah, I don't hate the idea, but look to selectively do it.
Just be careful when you do it, is what you're saying. Obviously, bet responsibly, as we always like to preach here on Forward Progress. That just about does it for us here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, please do us a favor. Smash that like button. It goes a long way for us here in the algorithm. Also, if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, that means you really like our content. So please hit the subscribe button. We'll be live again tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Rob Pizzol will be live for the Pizza Buffet. He'll be running through every single game on the Week 18 slate, giving out his sides, his totals, some player props that he likes. It's going to be a little bit of a chaotic week 18, a lot of moving parts here, and we'll probably get some more clarity on some of these games with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers game finishing on Saturday night. So make sure you tune in Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be notified right when we go live. That does it for us here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.